President Trump closing out the convention tonight, formally accepting the GOP nomination for president. Vice President Mike Pence among the speakers last night, touting President Trump as the leader who will stand up for America.
Joe Biden said that we were living through a season of darkness. But as President Trump said, where Joe Biden sees American darkness, we see American greatness.
We face a critical choice. Joe Biden's far-left failed policies of the past 47 years, or President Trump, who will stand up for the American people and the Constitution. I believe in the wisdom and spirit of the American people to elect the only candidate who is capable of protecting the American dream, President Donald J. Trump.
This is not just a choice between Republican and Democrat, or left and right. This is an election that will decide if we keep America, America, or if we head down an uncharted, frightening path towards socialism.
And joining me right now is the Trump Organization Executive Vice President and President Trump's son, Eric Trump. Eric, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here.
Hey, I'm glad you had my wife in there, Maria. Otherwise, I would have had to give you a hard time, you know?
Yes, Lara did a great job. You did a great job with your speech as well. What will your father talk about during the speech tonight? Let's preview what we're going to see tonight, which is another big night of heavy hitter stars from the party.
Yeah, well, it's going to be an amazing speech. It's actually, Maria, I think kind of when my father's always performed well. You look at all the State of the Unions that he's ever given, right? He actually talks about, the issues he goes out there. I think it's going to be a really nice speech. I think it's going to be a long speech. I think it's going to have a lot of substance. You compare that with the DNC. DNC is always, Trump's bad and COVID, right? They don't want to talk about all the successes we've had. We're no longer getting ripped off by the entire world. Look at where the Dow is. Right now relative to, where it was 3 months ago. Look at this V-shaped recovery. I mean, it's 10 million jobs in the last 90 days, 10 million jobs in the last 89 days that have come back into this economy. I mean, it's incredible. And that's despite what Steve Forbes was saying 2 seconds ago. Governors and mayors keeping places like New York and New York City totally closed. But our country is coming rocketing back. We should be very proud of that. What he's done for this military, what he's done for school choice in this country. I mean, I could go on and on. What he's done for taxes. Everybody wants to forget about taxes. He put together the largest tax cuts in the history of this nation. He's gotten rid of more regulation than any president ever. And it's why this economy and it's why this country has done so phenomenally well. And just imagine what he can do with another 4 years.
Well, he talked, and the RNC really highlighted a lot of different issues. I mean, when we look at the polls, for the most part, American people will give Donald Trump the credit in terms of being the one to lead for the economy. But now, what you've seen in the RNC this week are other important issues, like supporting police, defending the police, not defunding them, like foreign policy. In fact, let me ask you about the tent of the Republican Party. I mentioned this earlier. The RNC has made a point to go out and reach out to the African-American community, go out, reach out to women. You had Rick Grinnell talking about the gay and lesbian community, saying that President Trump has been the best president for that community. What are the plans in terms of hitting all of these different issues, Eric? Is this something that your father is trying to communicate, that the Republican tent is bigger than people thought? Because you hear about a big tent on the Democrat side all the time.
Rick Grinnell, I'm so glad you mentioned that, and LGBT, and he put out a video a couple days ago, and I encourage everybody to go watch it. I mean, the video is incredible, talking about how, Donald Trump has done more for the LGBT community than any president in history. And you listen to people like Jack Brewer last night, who was absolutely phenomenal. And, my father's policies have done more for LGBT, more for African-American unemployment and inner cities. You look at these opportunity zones. You look at the Democrats. Democrats have always taken all those votes totally for granted, and they've done absolutely nothing for them. I mean, you probably saw, Maria, that video from Kim Klacik, who's amazing, who's running in Baltimore. It was Elijah Cummings' congressional seat, right? It's one of the most politically watched videos in history. She's walking through the city and she's saying, you know what, these people have failed you. These people have failed you. Give me the opportunity. And it's an incredibly powerful video, but it's not that he's trying to, a lot of times you'll see the DNC and they'll try to pander to people, and you'll see my father's policies over the last 3.5 years have done more for certain groups of people in this country than ever before, and we should be proud of that. America should be proud of that, and I'm glad we're emphasizing it. And I do think it's a different Republican Party in that we are willing to talk about that, and we are willing to be proud of it, and we will put that front and center. And you see the poll numbers. I mean, you see the poll numbers as it relates to certain demographic groups, and I can tell you it's worrying the DNC. It's worrying the DNC a lot because they're losing their stronghold. They're no longer pulling the wool over the eyes of America.
So what do you want to say to somebody like a Robert Wolf, Eric? He just joined me 5 minutes ago, and he said, look, I think I'm living in a different, you're living in a different alternative universe. He said, we're just not looking at a good economy anymore. We just had the jobless claims out. We're talking about a contraction of 31%. And I said, yes, of course. Everybody knows that that's the China virus and coronavirus that has caused this shutdown. But President Trump's handling of the economy before COVID was 3.5% unemployment. But he pushed back and said, no, we are at a moment in time where people are going to understand that people are out of work. Small business is hurting. So what do you want to say to him in that regard?
Well, listen, Maria, I definitely shake his hand in person, and Robert and I like each other. But I heard Robert the other day on TV. How is Biden going to fix the economy? Well, education, great. We're going to start, right? So in 30 years, in 20 years, and my father's done more for education. I mean, remember, Biden is totally against school choice. He's totally bought and sold by teacher unions in this country, et cetera, et cetera. But, great. In 15 years, that will help our economy. They don't have a real plan. Maria, I'm not sure if Biden knows how to spell economy. Biden has never created a job in his life. In fact, I'll take that back, Maria. Biden's created one job. It's called for Hunter Biden, all right? They've done more to put money in their own pockets. He's single-handedly lived off of government for the last 47 years. He doesn't know the slightest thing about American business, the American worker. He doesn't know the slightest thing about the American company. He's never worked outside of Washington, D.C. Give me a break. This guy can't spell economy. He doesn't know the slightest thing about, the real world. I don't want to hear it from them. But, to think that, improving the educational system today is going, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. It's something that my father's done more for than any president. But this is his quick fix for the economy. It doesn't even make sense. Push him on it. I mean, just push him on it. What's Biden's plan? Yeah.
Right. Well, we didn't really hear a lot of policy solutions at the DNC. That is for sure. It was a lot of just hating on your father. You gave a very emotional speech at the RNC. You took it personally. What was that like, speaking about your father at such a huge event, talking right to him, Eric?
Yeah. Well, listen, it was an amazing night, and it's obviously an honor of a lifetime. And Maria, you covered it very well when I gave my speech in 2016. But when you're in front of 30,000 people in a massive auditorium, I mean, it's really kind of like a rock concert, right? And here you are, you're talking into people's homes. Somebody's sitting on their couch with their children, with their husband or their wife, and you're really getting into the American home. And I wanted to bring that tone into my speech. And listen, I love my father. He's the greatest. What he sacrificed to do this for the country is tremendous, and the job he's done is amazing. And I wanted to come off as that proud son, and I wanted to come off with a very heartfelt message. And I'm proud of him, Maria. I love him to death. He's done an awesome job. He's done an awesome job for this economy, which is just, it's everything. It's everything for the United States. And I wanted to convey that, and I certainly think I did.
You definitely did, and I like when you said, please continue to be unapologetic. Eric, real quick, we only have a couple seconds here left, but before you go, one of the principles in President Trump's list of things that he's going to do in his second term was he's going to push congressional term limits. And I thought that was really interesting because you just said Joe Biden's been in government for 47 years. Maybe we'll start to see accountability. People like Nancy Pelosi, who've been in the job for so long, and yet look at her constituents. Look at San Francisco and the mess that San Francisco is in. The people want to actually see solutions here.
Maria, I'm 37, right? I'm not like the oldest guy in the world. I'm not the youngest guy. The guy's been in government 10 years longer than I've been alive. I mean, if you can possibly think about it. And then he blames the problems of the world on my father. Trump caused this. It's like, where were you for the last 45 years. Why didn't you cover? And we believe that at almost 80 years old, you're going to come out and miraculously just I mean, come on, stop. It's crazy. We do need term limits. You look at the entire DNC. The entire DNC was comprised of people who had been in government for 40 plus years. They're unrelatable to the average American, and we need term limits in this country, and we need a lot of new fresh blood in Washington D.C.
Yeah, it's an important point. Eric, it's great to see you this morning. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Maria. It's great to be on.